How useful would fantasy races be in modern warfare?
I feel like we should have got Guardbros on for this.
Yeah, we probably should have.
This is actually the ideal thread to get Guardbros on.
Yeah.
Sorry, Guardbros, you're not online at the minute, I checked. So, what can you do? But yeah, if you guys...
Sneeze, you lose, Guardbros.
You lose. Fuck you in your other time zone. But, yeah, honestly, if you guys like this thread and you're interested in it, I would highly recommend checking out Guardbros' channel, checking out the Veil Rider series, all that stuff.
Definitely go.
He's got a book. Check it out down below. Anyway, look, let's just get into this, will we?
Orcs. If they are stronger and have greater endurance than humans, as they generally do in most settings, would be fucking terrifying, because you could probably actually outfit them in modernised bulletproof plate armour, and they'd be strong enough to actually be mobile and effective in it for a reasonable amount of time.
Honestly, yeah.
Terrifying.
However, I do feel like in modern warfare, I feel like strength builds aren't as important. I think dex builds and endurance is what the meta is all about.
Yeah.
I feel like firearms really do change everything.
Yeah.
Like, you know, for instance,
Do
Centaur.
we know much about orcs' endurance?
In most settings, they tend to be pretty athletic.
Yeah.
They tend to be able to, and they normally have a constitution modifier of sorts. So
and because they love fighting.
I would imagine, like, you know, it's an evolutionary trait. You know, like if you get hit after how many millennia of bashing each other in the head, you have to have a really thick brow. I think, you know, possibly, like, you know, I'll be honest with you, I think in most settings you could...
Thick skull boys rise up.
I think you could actually, like, I believe there would be, like, Neanderthals, but way denser skulls.
Yeah.
And I think you could honestly shoot a Neanderthal in the head, and probably...
They would stare at you and blink.
I feel like, depending... You could definitely, like, honestly, there's quite a few. I feel like...
Yeah.
It depends what the ammunition is, though, of course.
Centaurs would be good for lone or small group retcons. Their endurance would make them great at dropping off a ways and then moving into positions. Their larger size would be a detriment to stealth, but when you can outrun most other races, that should be fine.
Honestly, no. I would actually go the complete opposite of it. I would argue that centaurs in a fantasy setting should be one of the more dominant species, seeing as nomadic steppe nomads have always been a fucking nightmare to deal with up until modern warfare within reason. And I feel like any form of retcon or maneuvers, anything that could be achieved with anything that can fly. That would be a million times better. I feel like flying, like, imagine parachute regiments, but they can go back up in the air.
Based.
On command.
Based.
Yeah. Honestly, I would imagine they would have been amazing, and then centaurs would genuinely have been enslaved for World War One and been forced to just pull everything. They would have just been... 100%. That's what I would see. I would see them being turned into...
Just like donkeys, pack mules?
I would imagine they got turned into pack mules, and with the invention of more modernised stuff, like modernized, like, you know, personnel characters, all that type of stuff, completely redundant. Honestly, I feel centaurs would be the worst. I think they could have been amazing, but Modern Warfare, it just doesn't jive. Get with the kids, alright?
Nagas are amphibian and swamp fighters. They don't get trench foot because of that. Their snake bodies can make them larger to view over things, and are overall faster and crawling. What
the fuck's that mean?
Crawling to the enemy. Of course this is offset by their meat-based diet.
I feel like, but would they not suffer way more diseases from, like, the contaminated soil and... No, not just meat, but the contaminated, like, you know, like, they're talking about trench foot. The water wasn't just, it wasn't just water, it was stinking.
They wouldn't get any infections and shit because they're not getting trench foot, so there won't be open wounds. Well, unless they get fucking fire.
Are Naga, are they more amphibians or are they more reptiles? If they're amphibians are very...
Amphibians?
They're very... delicate to change the... Look, they're turning the frickin' frogs. Can't say that for obvious reasons, but let's continue.
Elves are light-footed forest and jungle fighters. If humans in Vietnam... Vietnam?
Fuck me. I need to start saying Vietnam.
If humans in Vietnam were a problem, imagine elves with their natural speed and good educations. Elves will dislike guns for their high nonce.
Nonce! Hey, nonce! Look, he's obviously not an English speaker. Let's be serious, he's not an English speaker. He's not a native English speaker anyway.
Elves will dislike guns for their high noise, and elves will overall bad entrench at modern warfare because of that.
Look, I get what you're trying to say.
I get it.
And honestly, I kind of do agree with that for the most part.
Dwarves are dwarves. They're overall just smaller humans. They need less time for their even shallow trenches because they're dwarves.
I do feel like, okay, what would be the ultimate tank crew? A tank crew of dwarves, or I'm actually going to say it, and I don't like them, and we've slagged them off.
Gnomes.
I honestly think gnomes would be great in Modern Warfare. Unironically.
Why?
They're very small. They're perfect for ambition. They're ultimate guerrilla warfare. Honestly,
Boy,
I think they are.
No. Imagine coming up to a pack of fucking gnomes. You just punt them down the fucking road. You lift them up like a rugby ball and just toss them.
It's all fun and games until the fucking gnomes.
That's like that question. That was getting thrown about. How many 10-year-olds could you take on at a time?
I reckon I could take. Okay, no, it was that was the question about the ducks. But yeah, how many? I honestly reckon
if you were let's say you were sitting in the middle of a park,
yeah,
and there was like a swarm of 10-year-old boys and girls.
I reckon I could.
How many of them could you beat the shit out of?
I honestly
until you get took down.
I think I could take about 50 because I would aim to break morale. And I cannot tell you what I would do to break their morale. Well, actually, I should say.
Yes,
I should too, because that sounds actually really bad.
That
sounds really bad. No, what I would do is I would genuinely grab one, right? And I'm thinking this is life or death shit. Like this is serious. This is a serious question.
Okay.
And I reckon they're gonna rip you apart like absolute zombies. That's what I'm thinking. These are very determined. Yeah.
But they're not like hyper strength, they're just normal 10-year-olds.
Yeah, I would genuinely, I'd grab one by the leg, right? And I would use it as like a bat, because 10-year-olds only weigh 3 stone, 4 stone, maybe 5.
Yeah.
They're not that heavy, and that's a pretty nice club. And genuinely,
do Miss Trunchable Matilda? Whenever she grabbed the wee girl by the pigtails and swinging, just do that, but helicopter.
It's either that, or I would go pure cannibalistic brutality and just bite one of their necks and just try and psych them out. I would go for the whole. What was that song? Fuck you, I won't do it. Do you guys remember that?
They don't.
No, they wouldn't know that. Oh, sorry. Fuck you, I won't do it. You tell me.
That's kind of weird. How many 10-year-olds do you think you could fucking get?
I reckon
before you get took down. I think I could take at least
50. I'm gonna go with 50.
Yeah, I think I could take at least a good 40.
I feel like 50 is a kind of a ridiculous number though at the same time, but I've never really had to test myself against 10-year-olds.
Give me a pint beforehand.
Look, this isn't what this video's about.
give me a cup, 2 drinks.
Oh yeah.
2 vodkas
Oh yeah.
Give me 2 vodkas beforehand, and I'll take on the fucking world.
Yeah.
I'll wreck them. If I have a full bottle of vodka in me, I think I'd probably take on 70.
I reckon I could probably actually do the same if I be honest with you. Honestly, this is not going out of hand. This is what the video's about now, guys. I'm sorry to say. How many 10-year-olds do you reckon you could actually batter? Are we going to get a warning or a guideline strike for child abuse or some shit?
Susan's got a stanky pussy.
Well, I'll put this on the old channel.
No.
Nah, fuck it. Okay, look, guys, let's keep going. Where were we? We're talking about dwarves.
Yeah.
And gnomes.
Right, next one. Races with wings that can do more than glide, but truly fly, are perfect scouts or shock troops.
I would agree with that, yeah.
Put a small propeller engine on their back and you have a long-range troops at your hands. Dragons and other big monsters suited in armour and guns must be morale brackers.
Brackers? Morale brackers? He's definitely not English. Let's keep
on both sides. A, they can deal with the enemy nearly alone. Or B, some mad lad builds something to counter them. There is no wounded dragon, alive or dead.
Look, I get what you're trying to say.
I get it.
Okay, I'm going to put it out there right now, and I would say they suffer the same
10 out of 10 for story, 7 out of 10 for sentence structure.
Yeah. What I'm going to say is I believe dragons are in the same category as centaurs. I believe they were once doomsday weapons, but I believe with the advent of jet fighters...
there's absolutely no way.
I believe, honestly, jets match match the playing field of dragons.
Not even
easily.
match their way over, I think.
What's the max speed of a dragon? I'm going to assume it's not Mach 2.
No.
So,
yeah.
So,
I'm
going to assume a dragon cannot naturally break the sound barrier twice. So, I'm sorry to say, but missiles just beat dragons. As much as I love dragons, I just... Even if they are, like, I do see them as, if you're going up against, like, maybe a third world country, they are still in use in certain parts of the world, but they're not used in modern, first. They're not used in first world armies. No.
Every really small race, like
Kobolds. Why is it so funny calling the
Every really small race like kobolds, if not too stupid, will be a nice Scot or a commando.
Yeah, I that's what I said earlier. I buy into that. I think most small races would be ideal guerrilla warfare troops. I feel like perfect for laying ambushes. I do see a use for them. Kobolds. That's honestly the best. I'm going to start using that now. People are going to be wondering, like, what the fuck's going with him? Why is he saying more shit words that he can't even say?
Vampire leaders must be a nightmare. Not only you can't snipe his noble head off his shoulders, but also he leads his man at the front just so to impress his fellow vampires. Smart and blood-hungry and night active, I don't see many foes that have so few numbers being so scary. Of course, the daylight, spices, silver, and running water thing. But for that, you give this vamp dude meat shields to cover him. Right, Jim? Stop it. Giants are overall bad. Unlike monsters with wings or other factors, giants are just big humans. Most of the time, not even smart. So they have less cover to hide. Their gear is way too huge. Only real reason using giants in a gunfight is to be used in logistics for ammo and cannons.
Yeah, I pretty much would agree with that. With giants, I feel like they would have been amazing back in the day. It's pretty much, I see a lot of this is what happened to cavalry. It just got replaced. It just got redone. It just got revamped. And honestly, once you start mixing in tanks and jets and...
It's just...
They're just not going to compete. No. I'm sorry, just... The flesh is weak. The flesh is weak.
But kobolds, guys, am I right? Kobolds.
Fucking kobolds, man. Let's just keep going, alright?
Hey, guys. Do you like models in your tabletop role-playing games? 'Cause we do too. Do you like having big bitty waifus on your table? 'Cause we do too. We got human biddies, we got lizard biddies, we got orc biddies, oni biddies, cat bussies. We've got everything you want at neckbeardia.co.uk.
Check the links down below, it helps us out a lot.
Sorry for interrupting the video, let's get on with the story. Lizardmen would pretty much be ideal soldiers. Survival adept, can fight in mud and rain. Muted emotions make them less susceptible to the horrors of war. Regeneration abilities means wounds that would make other soldiers unable to fight would just slow them down. High patience while still keeping alert. Slow metabolism means infrequent food intake is no problem, until the winter starts.
Honestly, I have to agree with that. I find very little at fault with Lizardmen for making perfect modern day soldiers, especially like until winter starts. Do you know where we wage war these days?
Yeah.
Do you know the companies we go to? Like, I'm sorry to say, but winter doesn't exist in those places.
Yes.
Honestly, I do think Lizardmen. I'm actually having a hard time to think of a better standardized troops than Lizardmen. The only thing I can think of is dwarves, and that's only because I am biased as fuck.
That's because James is a fucking dwarf.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah. Next post, guys. Next post.
Kobolds, am I right?
Yeah.
Baseline human. Classic rifle infantry. Good and cheap in numbers. May carry some attachments like grenade launchers, grenades, etc. Plenty for line duty, as well as operation and logistics. Dwarfs. Shock troopers for breach operations. Excellent for carrying heavy-duty portable weaponry such as machine guns, autocannons, missile launchers, as well as sniper rifles. Also great at piloting tanks due to reduced profile and high-speed aircraft due superior resistance to G-force.
Oh, I never actually thought about that. That's actually a really
Why
good
do
point.
they have resistance to G-force?
They're just thick-ass skin. And I imagine they've got pretty good blood circulation, so that would... I imagine that would help. Okay, go back to an earlier point. I am having a tough time thinking which is a better tank crew, dwarves or gnomes. The big thing which is given me for dwarves is thick-ass skulls. So they don't really need crash helmets inside, like, you know, any of those, like, World War II wee dinky-ass fucking... your head's not getting battered about in there. And you can fit more of them in.
Yeah. Well, same with gnomes.
Yeah, you can put way more gnomes in.
Way more gnomes in.
Yeah.
And honestly, who gives a fuck about gnomes? Just squish them in like a clown car.
I honestly do find a tank full of gnomes oddly terrifying for some weird reason. So I imagine there'd be something like... You know, I'm sorry, I just can't help but think of anything other. Gnomes to me are leprechauns.
Yeah.
That's what they are.
That's what I think of.
That's what they are to me. They'll never be seen as anything other than
yes, I know. Steal like the ends of your shoelaces, so they never stay in.
They're just always up to no good.
Elves, commando units good at infiltration, excel in the use of crossbows, silenced pistols, knives, and silent kills. Also great guard and garrison units due to highly tuned senses. Silent melee kills. Finally, both very capable in medical and interrogation tasks.
Yeah, I can see that.
Interrogation?
I can see elves being particularly sadistic.
But well,
I could very sophisticated levels of torture.
But like if an elf tried to interrogate me,
all I'm saying is, if an elf wanted to get around some international war crimes tribunal sort of type of shit, an elf's the type of person to be able to think of that and work out a way. Okay, how do we not land in trouble for the obvious crimes against humanity that we've done?
Yeah. An elf, especially like a female elf, would be a great idea to use as, you know, one of those like honeypot ones where they send a prostitute, but they get information. Yeah, and they'd be great to use as one of those.
I would say they would be great for that. Honestly, I think this guy's on to. He's got the basic ones down, and I would agree with everything he said. Pretty spot on.
Zombies/skeletons would obliterate any warfare meta.
That's a really weird way. Okay, right, whatever you want.
Until the invention of food that could be preserved very well, because they don't need to eat or drink.
If zombies or skeletons or anything like that was about in medieval times, there is no chance anyone's we're not making
going
it
to outrun their endurance. No way.
But we're never going to make it to a modern day scenario because they exist.
Yeah.
I just can't see a medieval. No.
They are practically faster than any other army because they don't need to rest, ever, and can march for days on end. You have to storm any castles guarded by them because you can't starve them out. They don't need to waste time on resources foraging for food. They don't need to use massive wagon trains for food, making them far more self-sufficient. Immune to poison gas attacks because they don't need air. They might not even need to use boats to get to islands because they don't need air.
That's a good idea. Until their bunny bodies start floating away. Like,
oh no, my foot!
Half the regiment shows up with no arms. Oh shit, guys.
They don't need training. There is a practically infinite amount of them in reserve at all times, anywhere on Earth. You don't need to carry medical supplies for them. Bring bandages for the skelly boys in case something gets shot off.
Yeah, come on, you need to get at least.
You need at least one medic.
Look, all I'm saying is all they really need.
And like
is
he makes that rattling noise, you know, whenever he's running.
I do feel like the only equipment that a medic would need, unironically, and I hated the memes at the time.
Hot glue gun.
Yeah. No, hot glue gun, WD-40 and duct tape is all you need to keep a skeleton boy army up in perfect fighting conditions.
Yes. They never retreat either. They don't need as much armour because they don't need to worry about bleeding out or losing limbs.
I would argue they do need to worry about losing limbs to a certain extent.
They're pretty scary, which will rout the enemy quicker. They could spread diseases because they're little corpses. Any other advantages?
Well, they're all pretty solid, I would argue. I do feel like there is some still hard counters. You know what? I'm going to actually go out in here and say it. I feel like dragons would be, and I said earlier that they would be shit, but I feel like dragons would be a pretty hard counter to a zombie/skeleton army. They've got no real way of reaching them unless they have some other form of undead creatures. I'm going to assume it's all like undead humans. I'm not going to put in like undead giants and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
I would argue, I think dragons would be a pretty hard and
could be
worthwhile encounter
for them. Yeah,
I don't believe they could get through the armor no matter what, so they could land safely. A good tail whip will literally knock thousands of them.
And if it's like, if the dragon does have fire breath, it could wipe a lot of them out.
Yeah.
Could char them.
The other big thing is it really does depend on, another good counter would be, honestly, well dug in fortifications. And as long as you can keep the bullets flying, as long as you can keep everything killed, you can keep yourself supplied, I think you can hold them off as long as you please. Yeah. Within reason.
Yeah.
I'm going to assume these are also walking zombies, not running ones.
Yeah.
But if you guys have any more, actually, I know it's kind of cringe. I still like zombies. I really like skeletons. Don't judge me, guys. All right?
Yeah. Goblins. Breed fast.
Here, we don't need to tell you guys about that.
We don't need to tell you guys. Smart enough to use a gun or drive a jeep. Jeep?
Jeep?
Jeep? No, it's spelled geep.
Geep? Okay, they could go for geep.
Dumb enough to throw their lives away. Small, therefore harder to detect and target. Strong for their size. Can subsist on...
Literal garbage.
Yes. Warlike, pitiless and sneaky. Perfect human wave fodder or suicide bombers.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Actually...
But it's trying to wrangle goblins together.
Yeah, it's like they're
is it worth it?
I just
because I don't think it is.
I feel like honestly, I think goblins are way cooler than gnomes, but I feel like everything that applies to gnomes...
The best way would, to me, to do that with goblins is literally put them in like a massive cage. Yeah. Right? And have like a big fucking chinook or something fly them in, but dangling in the cage, and just land them into the middle of the warfield,
so they
open up the cage, and they all have bombs on them, and detonate them.
You know what? Actually, now you mention it, I feel like they would be the perfect partisan troops. They're not really meant to be. They're not sophisticated. They're not really meant to be doing much.
Let's be honest. They're not meant to live.
Yeah, they're really not meant to live. More like let's be serious. They're supposed to live like mayflies. Yeah. I believe.
Or put jetpacks to them. Put them in a catapult.
I like that idea.
I like that too.
I like that too.
I know he hears. Wow!
Oh, yes. Yes. Well, I must say, I really enjoy this type of shit because, look, I like to imagine the what ifs and how you could apply fantasy world logic to modern day sensibilities and how different fantasy is to reality. I think it's a good mix, and if you enjoyed this, or if you enjoy the ideas and the concepts we've been throwing about, honestly, check out Guardbros channel.
Check out Guardbros, check out his book. Links are down below.
This is honestly, I feel like if we do something like this again, we really should just...
We'll get Guardbros in.
We'll get Guardbros on to help us with this, because he's more competent in
this
than we are.
Yeah, we take the piss. Guardbros becoming a strategy, effective deployment. He'll be telling. He'll put that shit down.
We're just here to shitpost and say cobalt.
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 Guys, am I right?
I feel like Guardbros would actually be able to do this properly, professionally, and be able to actually maybe convey more.
And wrangle us a wee bit.
Yeah. Maybe we were the goblins all along. Maybe it was the goblins you found along the way.
That's why we're married.
Yeah. So, look, guys, hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you like this sort of stuff, subscribe, check out the models. By the way, Megan, you were talking about goblins on rockets. We sell a goblin on a rocket.
Yeah, we do.
We do sell. And she's got big fat titties, so...
check them out.
If that wasn't an advert, not meant to be an advert,
that's a fucking
that was
segue.
Actually an advert.
Do it.
Check it out. Links down below.
Thanks.
Hope you guys enjoyed.
Subscribe.
See you next time.
Bye. Couples.
Oh.